I have to start with a mea culpa. For the better part of the last year, maybe even longer, I have been bashing Spider-Man No Way Home because I was afraid I wouldn't like it, because the leaks were not what I wanted or even like. I even threatened to leave the fandom. I was stupid and I was wrong. I should have trusted Marvel Studios to do it right, and they did. So from me, Grandmaster of Sakaar, to you, Marvel Studios, Sony Pictures, Kevin Feige, and all fans I have been bashing online, I'm sorry. I was wrong. You know what? Let's call it a tie. Hello, and welcome to the review of Champions. Today we're going to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home. With me are my good friend Biz.
Hello, guys.
And all the way from Texas, Mr. Taylor first.
Hey.
Before we start, I would like to ask you all to hit that like and subscribe button and maybe join our forum on Sakaar. It's a nice forum. If you join us, you can be on the podcast or review if you want to. We are open to everyone. We're going to talk spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, go check it out first and then come back to the video. So, without further ado, let's dive right into it. Taylor, you just saw the movie. You've been back from the theater an hour. What are your quick thoughts?
Quick thoughts. This is an incredible movie. This movie is going to go down as a milestone in the genre. Right? It has done things that have been talked about for years and never anyone's been able to pull off before. I could go on and on for hours without even talking about what was in the actual movie, just talking about Spider-Man and his place in history at this point. He is the equal of Superman and Batman. There's no question about it anymore in the annals of superherodom. And we'll get into the details, but this movie is just incredible on every level.
Biz, do you feel the same?
Definitely. Straight up 11 out of 10. This movie was awesome. Like, it's like what Taylor was saying. They managed to achieve a lot with this film. They try to do the Sinister Six a few times, but they never really achieved it in this way. A few additional characters, of course, apart from the villains in this film, which were really good, but we'll get into that later on. But yeah, this is what a blockbuster is all about. Truly a blockbuster film.
Yeah, well, as I said in my opening statement, I was a bit skeptical, or a lot skeptical actually, before going into this movie, and the movie blew me away. I still have my criticism of this movie. I will get into that later. It swept me off my feet, and I'm totally taken by it. It's freaking awesome, really freaking awesome. You know what, Biz, you get to go first. Is there anything you didn't like about this movie, or do you just want to make a love letter right now for the whole movie? Go ahead.
I would like to very much do a Valentine to this movie, but I will, I guess, mention a few criticisms. Like there were, it wasn't perfect, but it was still a very, very entertaining film, a great film all around. But I guess it's not really nitpicky, but there were some issues. Like, for example, I didn't really exactly understand how the villains are kind of connected to, I guess, to each other in a way, because like, I don't know, it's just the connections were a little bit weird. For example, like Jamie Foxx was seemed like a totally different. He seemed kind of a different character, like compared to the who he was before. Like they didn't exactly explain, like if he obviously he was from a different universe, but I'm not entirely sure if he was from the same universe that we know from the Amazing Spider-Man movies. So I don't know, like it was just like issues like that. But apart from that, it was a great film.
Yeah, I think they left it a little bit in the middle.
Yeah.
And I did that on purpose. So, but if you want to, you can connect it. If you don't want to, you cannot. You don't have to. It was done very smart. I think there were enough references to the old movies to make sure they know how and what. But yeah. Also, yeah, they didn't really push through with that. So that was indeed so. Any other stuff?
No, I'll just say I'm not entirely sure what to say here because I don't want to take everyone's like content away from them. Obviously, I guess I'll mention it. Seeing Tobey Maguire and Andy Garfield was awesome. That they did it really well. They weren't just like, oh hey, you guys are there, and then they quickly disappeared. They were supporting characters in this movie. So it was awesome to see. Like I mean, as a big Spidey fan and a big MCU fan and a Marvel fan in general, it's a dream come true. Like the fans wanted this for so long to happen. There were theories based around it, rumors. It happily came true. Yeah, Tobey Maguire was awesome. It was just, and I had the funny moments where it was it was awesome where Andrew Garfield like helped crack Tobey Maguire's back because it was like a middle-aged Spider-Man that was like so quirky but like endearing at the same time because Spider-Man it just it makes me remember that we can identify Spider-Man. He's just a regular dude from Queens. He's an everyday superhero. He's an everyday man. He's got struggles. Like we all know the history. He's a big character. Like he's a photographer. MJ. He's like in the comics. Like it's sometimes it can be brutal for Spider-Man. The trials and tribulations that he has to go through. But he always comes out on top. He's a fighter, and then that's what people can identify with.
Mm. Yeah, they even recreated that meme with the Spider-Mans pointing at each other right there on the Statue of Liberty for a second. So that was really funny. And yeah, it's great. There's still a lot to unpack, but let's go to Taylor. Taylor, do you have any criticisms of this movie? How minor, nitpicky they may be?
No.
Oh, well, that concludes our review. No. Go ahead.
So I talk about what I like now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah, just like Biz said, I mean, so many things to like about this movie. Garfield and Maguire were excellent. The interactions between the three Spider-Men, the chemistry, the way they were able to create that shared experience between the three. You know, how that's the way they looked at each other, the way they understood the problems of being Spider-Man and all the dangers and everything that goes with it. That was beautiful. The rest of the cast, Doctor Strange was great. That scene with Spider-Man fighting Doctor Strange was absolutely spectacular. The special effects, the powers of both of them and the way they use them. Again, I don't know how Marvel does it. Marvel, I don't know. Did Kevin Feige sell his soul to the devil or what? Because I don't know how they do this stuff. But that scene was spectacular. And then the emotional scenes with Aunt May and the chemistry between Holland and Zendaya is off the charts. I mean, they're both such good actors, and they really sold that relationship. It was amazing.
Yeah, they have a real life relationship as well, as I understand it. So they have drawn for this. Yeah.
Good for them. But even if they don't, they sure as heck do a great job in this movie. Ned was great in this movie. The whole little snippet of him after he's been exposed and how painful that was for him and everyone around him. And then of course at the end, I love the way the movie ended. he's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man now, and no one knows who he is, as it should be. So it's almost like the person I saw the movie with said the first two Spider-Man, all the MCU Spider-Man movies up till now were an origin story leading to this point, to where he's now Spider-Man, and he can continue on as Spider-Man. And I love that the world remembers Spider-Man, but no one remembers Peter Parker at this point. So that was the only way they could do it. That's the only way that, I was trying to figure out, how are they going to fix this? How are they going to end this without it being, a total, mess? And they did it. They figured out a way to do it, and that was the way to do it. Spider-Man still exists. Everyone knows who he is. No one no one knows who's under the mask, and no one remembers who was under the mask. So now he can go work for J. Jonah Jameson. He can meet Betty Brant working for the Daily Bugle, and so on and so forth. It's wide open. And that's just the big stuff, the little stuff. Let's talk classic television references. An episode of The Equalizer was filmed underneath Doctor Strange's headquarters. not the Denzel Washington movies, not the remake with Queen Latifah, but the original 1980s Equalizer with Edward Woodward was filmed under Doctor Strange's headquarters place. I mean, how crazy is that? And then the closing credits theme song. That was a song from Schoolhouse Rock, which was an educational cartoon on Saturday mornings starting back in the 1970s. All right. What the heck? Where are they pulling? It is owned by Disney, by the way. So it was pulled out. It's on Disney Plus if anybody wants to go back and watch the episodes and learn their multiplication tables, because that's what that cartoon was for. It was educational. All right, but wow. The villains, holy crap. Willem Dafoe. Give him a supporting actor Oscar to recreate himself from 20 years ago and do it well. And okay, there was some fan service when he smashed that mask, because everyone hated that mask that he wore in the 2002. So there was a cheer in my theater when he smashed the mask. But yeah, the Green Goblin, and of course Dr. Octopus. Holy cow, how good was he? And then even the other villains, and you could go on and on. We could peel this onion back forever. But another favorite moment, we saw in the trailer MJ falling off of the scaffolding. But how great was it when it was the Amazing Spider-Man who saved her life, and you could see it in his eyes. How glad he was that he was able to save her, and the Holland Spider-Man would not have to go through the loss of his Gwen the way he had. And the little references to him talking about what happened after that, how he said he lost control for a while, stopped pulling his punches for a while. I want to see that movie. Okay, Sony, make us an Amazing Spider-Man 3. I want to see what happened there. And Tobey Maguire talking about how
Tobey had a similar moment, actually, where he prevented Tom Holland, Spider-Man, from piercing the Goblin with the glider. Well, that was the exact same moment.
Exactly right. Saving Holland from going through that guilt trip.
Yeah.
So many moments. There's so many things we could talk about. Just on a side note, this movie in one weekend has made more money than Shang-Chi has made up till now.
Holy crap!
Seriously,
wow.
both domestic and international.
Yeah. Just wait for the drop-off.
Exactly. But anyway, I don't want to monopolize. Just a few thoughts.
Well, I'm surprised you guys didn't mention him, but I will do it. Matt Murdock.
He's a great lawyer, by the way.
Yeah. And he can catch a break from coming from behind just by listening to the sound. And of course Tom Holland's Spider-Man, Peter Parker immediately knew something's up with this guy. Well, yeah. Well, let's hope we see that next week. By the way, in the Hawkeye finale.
And on that note, how of course the internet is going to be debating this forever. Is he a variant of the Netflix show?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Are we going to see Luke Cage in the next movie? What's going to happen?
I think they will definitely seal the deal on that. I think in the Hawkeye finale. I think we will get the Kingpin if he doesn't reference how he got out of jail again after Daredevil season 3. We will see. Well, I still have to address my concerns and my criticisms of this movie. I think that would be only fair. Beforehand, I was afraid that it would be a lot of empty, hollow fan service by letting those characters show up, fight this Spider-Man, and have it no meaning. And in a way, that still happened. I mean, they did step from out of another universe. However, the way Marvel Studios did it, it made sense. It was the only way it made sense, and there was a reason behind it. And Tom Holland's Spider-Man had a reason to fight them in the end. Because, yeah, well, the events that happened during the movie. I loved it, actually, the fact that he wanted to help them instead of just fight them, send them back, have them killed, and it not being his problem. With great power comes great responsibility. I love the way, by the way, how they incorporate that line into this movie. You really felt that during that scene. I think it was the best scene of the whole movie, where May passes after being killed by the Goblin, and the emotion on Tom Holland's face. Holy crap, he is good. He is really good, and I think he's also sealed the deal on who is the best Spider-Man in this movie. By the way, there is nobody better than Tom Holland in this role. I'm sorry, Toby. I'm sorry, Andrew. I love you guys, but Tom Holland was the best. But yeah, in a way, you could still say it was an easy fix to get Tom Holland to fight these villains. I can live with it, and the way they ended it was perfect. Like Taylor mentioned, it actually set up this MCU Spider-Man in a way he should be, and he's now apart from the Avengers. He's now apart from all other team-ups. He will need to reveal himself again to other heroes or people before he's taken seriously, or before he can show up in other people's movies again. But he will. That's already been confirmed. So just have to wait and see. So actually, my mind was set at ease in the way Marvel Studios did it. If they didn't really take the easy way. So I was happy with that. Overall, I really love this movie from the start to the finish. The way it started right after where Far From Home ended, the chaos surrounding Spider-Man, Peter Parker at that moment, and yeah, everything that happened. I always loved Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange, and I really did feel that he was a bit like escaping his responsibility as well. And in the beginning, by just say Scooby-Doo this crap. I mean, yeah, he had a responsibility as well in that moment. It felt a bit like he was alluding that. Overall, when Andrew and Toby showed up, there was a cheer in my theater, which rarely happens in my country, and I must say I also felt that. And the moment Andrew Garfield caught Zendaya when she was falling, I must admit I also applauded a bit. The redemption was great in that regard, and yeah, like I said before, this movie it blew me away, and yeah, I absolutely love it. I still think Eternals is the best movie Marvel has made this year. That's my prerogative. But Spider-Man No Way Home was no way near as bad or as terrible as I feared. It's a great, great, great film. I think it's one of the better Spider-Man movies, and it's one of the better MCU movies. I think I will need to see it again before I can rank it specifically. That's something I need to think about. Well, we can do ratings, but I think somebody gave it an 11 out of 10. Probably Taylor will give it a 10 out of 10. Correct me if I'm wrong. Well, I will give it a 7 out of 10.
You are not wrong.
Oh, okay. No, I got 11, so yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the adds up.
So, are there any things we missed we still want to talk about?
Well, I'm still just in awe because, you know, this movie did what, you know, has been talked about forever. You know, how do we get, you know, Jack Nicholson's Joker into a movie now? How do we get him to cross over? You know, and I know they're working on The Flash over in DC, but guess what, guys? You're late to the party because it's just been done, and if you can't do it as good as it's been done this time, God help you.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the Flashpoint movie is in trouble now.
Yeah, it is. Hopefully it'll be good. I mean, you know, you can't be the first at everything, but Marvel is the first at this particular thing of crossing over universes. Now, the Arrowverse did do it a little bit though. They had a little, you know, when all the universes were collapsing, they had one scene of the Birds of Prey series and one scene of Robin from 1966, Batman. So yeah, I'll give them credit. That was good. But to do it like this, full scale on a movie level, where they're actually all together, all part of the story, like I said, never been done before. But it's something that, you know, movie makers have dreamed of for years, and fans have dreamed of for years. That, and also I just want to say I mean, here's a miracle. How the heck can Disney, Marvel, and Sony work together so well to create such an amazing freaking product? And are we going to talk about the end credit scene too, by the way? The mid credit scene? But yeah, it's amazing that they were able to work together like this. Incredible.
Yeah, let's talk about those scenes. First up, the Venom one. We all seen Venom being transported to the MCU in the after credit scene of Venom, Let There Be Carnage. And then in the mid credit scene of Spider-Man No Way Home, he gets taken away again from the MCU, leaving a drop of symbiote behind. I think it's a plot device just to get symbiote in the MCU. And they want to keep Tom Brady's Venom separate. Or am I mistaken?
No, that's
you're right.
Yeah.
But we all seen the Vulture showing up in the Morbius trailer. Mobius is the guy from Loki. Morbius is the vampire. It's more complicated than all those Spider-Man, but by the way, that was a cool scene when they were all swinging around the corner from on the Empire. What is it? The Statue of Liberty. Yeah, when you see them all swinging there in the moonlight, it was awesome. By the way.
Yeah.
But so yeah, what are our thoughts about that corner? Is Venom, is Morbius going to be connected to the MCU in such a way, or are they still keeping that Sony Spider-Man universe separate from the MCU?
Yeah, it seems like they are still keeping a separate. I mean, otherwise they would have just let Venom stay around with whatever reason they came up with. It's clear that they wanted to separate. Like we've got a Venom, just a different Venom. Because obviously with the symbiote, or might not even be Venom at all. It could be like Carnage, or like there's other characters attached to that alien. Like I mean that symbiotic organism. So yeah, I think it will be separate. It would have been good. I would like to say though, one small criticism. It would have been good because this is obviously Tom Holland's Spider-Man. This is his movie. Would have been good to see one of his villains in this movie too, like for example the Vulture, or like even Mysterio. I know Mysterio was a bit too soon, but they could have put in Vulture because we saw Morbius Vulture in the Morbius trailer, it would have been good to see him too, and it would have been the Sinister Six as well. If we got the Vulture too.
No, that's one major criticism actually. If you're gonna do like multiple villains, why not go all the way and do the Sinister Six? And now they leave it hanging. But I think they didn't put Tom Holland Spider-Man's villain into this movie because that's not the point of this movie. It was the point of the multiverse characters coming in.
Yeah.
So yeah, then it wouldn't really make sense to put also. Yeah, there's also a villain from our universe fighting Spider-Man. But yeah, Taylor, any thoughts on the Venom situation, Morbius situation?
Well, I think Biz is definitely right that the Tom Hardy Venom is going back to his universe, and he's going to be in a separate universe. But that, like you said, that bit of symbiote that got left behind allows them to use Venom in the MCU universe. As far as Morbius, I mean, the question is still open. All right, that could be a variant of the Vulture in the Morbius trailer, or he could be in because he also mentions Venom in the trailer of Morbius. Right. So hard.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I think there's going to be some way that they bring him together.
It could be the usual mess Sony creates.
I sure hope not at this point.
Yeah. By the way, they also with the whole world forgetting about Peter Parker, they also have set up the possibility for Ned Leeds to become the Hobgoblin.
Yeah, possibly.
Because now they're no longer friends. So
even though he promised that he would not become a supervillain, but he doesn't remember it.
Yeah, but that's foreshadowing.
It's also possible that one scene in Morbius where he says, "I'm Venom," that may not even be in the movie. You know, they've done that to us before.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
Hey, the scene with Vulture may not be in the movie. Could be just a way to sell it. So, and then of course there was the post-credit scene, which was basically a teaser trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. To me, that looked absolutely awesome. It was great seeing Wanda again. Did we see Kang Slayer in there?
That's what I thought.
Who did we see?
Kang's Lair. I thought I recognized it.
What we saw in the finale of Loki.
Could be. I don't know.
But how do you guys feel about what you saw from the Doctor Strange movie coming up? This?
It looks awesome. Like it hit all the right notes. Like we saw Wanda, and then we kind of expected it. Like it was said that Wanda was going to be in Doctor Strange. It was good to see that it pretty much like left off right off where in WandaVision where she was like in a secluded spot by herself and she was studying and she was still obviously alone until Doctor Strange came by in that field, whatever it was. And then we saw like an evil Doctor Strange. Like, could that be a connection to What If? That's what I thought maybe. Like they've basically thrown all the doors open, but in a way, they still got it kind of closed because of Venom not being in the multiverse. So they are picking and choosing still, which is a good thing. They're choosing the best parts, trying to keep something separate. Maybe it's because of the deal or whatever it is, but they're doing the right things. Doctor Strange looks awesome. I'm looking forward to it, definitely.
Well, it's actually surprising that Sony will allow Marvel Studios to promote their movie in a Sony Pictures movie. I mean,
that's true.
The bond between those two studios is actually, I think, growing and improving. So I have high hopes for the future. Taylor, any thoughts?
Yeah, well, as far as that goes, I mean, it's mutually beneficial. I mean, Sony, as far as the Spider-Man movies go, Sony is making out like a bandit. Okay, they don't even have to do any work, any of the creative stuff at all, and they still get most of the box office. And of course, it's extremely beneficial for the Marvel MCU side of it as well. They get all the merchandising and they get Spider-Man in the MCU and all the wonderful things that's already brought us up to this.
And after this opening weekend, it must be clear to both Sony and Marvel Studios they need to keep working together because they're raking in the money. And I think you said Spider-Man No Way Home made more than Shang-Chi, but it also made more than a lot of movies pre-pandemic in one weekend. So
it's what is it, like the second or third highest opening?
Yeah, I think it's just behind
Endgame and Infinity War.
Yeah, it's just behind Infinity War. The Endgame record will probably not be broken for a while.
Well, they both opened in China, and this movie hasn't even had a China release yet.
That's
true. I think it's actually banned, isn't it?
As of now, I think there's no plan to release it in China.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But, but as far as the whole universes go, I think maybe they're taking a wait and see. Let's see how popular the Morbius movie is, and if people love it, we'll have them cross over into the MCU. That might be one route they're taking.
Yeah.
Where do you think Spider-Man's going to go from here? Because it looks like he might have like a depressing episode because he just lost his what's it called? Like MJ, Ned, like pretty much everyone may. So I'm thinking he might have like the famous Spider-Man depressing part, or maybe he just it depends. It's like how it's gonna like. Do you think he's gonna go through like some emotions, like for example, like with what Andy Garfield went through, or like Tobey Maguire when they have their like bad like phases and then they pick themselves up again? Because that is Spider-Man after all. He goes through those like tough times, or do you think they'll just like quickly go over it and then like 5 years later or something? Or
I think he's going to go through some tough times. However, at the end of this movie, I mean, he seemed to be all right with it, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have some emotions to go through. So I think he's still going to have some of that to work through while he continues to fight crime in his next movie.
Yeah. Well, I think the next time we will see him in his own movie, and I think that's what is going to happen. I think Sony and Marvel are basically already confirmed that there will be another trilogy, even though they officially say they wait and see. But I think that will be his college trilogy, and he's leaving high school. I don't think we will see him graduating from high school, but he will be in college, and that's where he becomes a real scientist, right? So, I'd
also like to mention the Kevin Feige wink at DC, with like how Flash was holding up that book Flashpoint. It's like when he's like, I bet you too at DC. It's like a straight up wink.
True.
Yeah. So basically, Flash Thompson was being an asshole to DC instead of the Spider-Man this time.
Yeah, exactly.
And they gave him the blonde hair, by the way. So everybody wins. Nobody can nag anymore. We got the iconic line. If it's
That's
now, and actually, Aunt May dying on screen after 3 movies and saying that iconic line means actually. Maybe even more than Uncle Ben we see for 1/3 of a movie. But yeah, that's if I say that, I will get in trouble with the Spider-Man fandom, and I don't want to.
So do you guys think we'll see Uncle Ben, or is he just going to be gone, or like we don't know where he is? Like,
well, he has been referenced a few times, of course, in the previous movies, going all the way back to Civil War. I don't think they will show him at this point.
Okay. What about you? What do you think, Taylor?
Yeah, and I agree with Grandmaster that he has been referenced. He did exist. I guess he's passed away, and I don't see him going back to that. They don't need to. Everything that we've seen so far has led us to this point. There's no need to go back.
Indeed. Okay. Anything else, gentlemen?
Yes, sorry. This is Spider-Man after all. I would definitely like to mention the Green Goblin. We haven't mentioned him not that much. The fight scene between him and Spider-Man in that apartment complex holy shit, that was visceral and brutal. Holy
Yes.
crap, that's going breaking through like several levels. I mean, wow, that was an awesome fight scene. And then later on, towards the end, again, like I didn't expect him like at the end, like just fighting when they managed to get rid of his glider. And then yeah, again, powerful stuff. Like this is Spider-Man versus the Green Goblin, his arch nemesis. I mean, it was brutal. Like what's his name? Willem Dafoe. He played it excellently. Like it's like he just got off the set of Spider-Man 1. Back a few years ago. It's like there was no difference at all. He gave it his all. I loved him. Green Goblin is awesome.
They did have an easy time going through those ceilings or floors, whatever you want, whatever side you're standing on. I mean, don't have sex on that floor because you're gonna go through the ceiling. Anyway, yeah. Well, that will conclude our review for Spider-Man: No Way Home. Before we finish, I would like to ask you all to hit that subscribe button and notification bell on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, like our Facebook page, join the forum on Sakaar, sakaar.freeforums.net. That way you will never miss us, and we won't have to miss you. Thank you, and see you next time for our review of the Hawkeye season finale. And also be on the lookout for our review series for the Book of Boba Fett. Bye.